One of the fastest ways to raise your credit score right now is knowing which moves actually help and which ones secretly are working against you. What if you open your Experian or My FICO app, hit refresh, and your score just jumped up? Now the same banks that wouldn't even touch you are handing out 10 plus $1,000 limits like it's nothing. Soon you'll see the one move that drops people's scores overnight and why so many people do it thinking that they're actually helping themselves. You also see the strategy that can boost your score 30 plus points without paying down a single dollar, and how one person pulled off a 121-point jump in less than 30 days. Now, let's start with what's actually hurting you. And I see this all the time. Someone pays off a credit card, feels good about it, and then closes it. And all of a sudden, their score drops 20, 30, sometimes 50 points. And here's why. Your score doesn't just care about how much debt you have, it really cares about how much available credit that you have. So when you close a card, your total credit limit drops, but your balance doesn't, which means your utilization spikes overnight. So you didn't spend a dollar, but your profile suddenly looks riskier. That's why this is one of the worst moves that you can make. If you don't want the card anymore, downgrade it, sock drawer it, but don't close it. Keep the history, keep the limit, let it help your score in the background. And here's the biggest myth that's costing people money, and you've probably heard this before. Carry a small balance, it helps your credit. Sounds logical. It feels like you're showing activity. But here's what's really happening. You're just paying 20 to 34% interest for no reason. The truth is your score only cares about what reports, not what you carry. So, yes, have a small balance report like 1 to 5%. That can definitely help. But you can still pay it off in full before the due date and avoid interest completely. There's a difference between reporting a balance and carrying one. Many people mix that up, and it can cost them hundreds, sometimes thousands throughout the year. Now let's talk about what actually moves the needle. There are really two things that dominate your credit score. Not kind of, not a little bit. They control nearly everything. One is your payment history, and then two is your credit utilization. That's it. Everything else comes secondary. Payment history is the foundation. This is 35% of your score. And it's simple. Never miss a payment. Not once, because one late payment can drop your score 50 to 100 plus points, and it can sit there for years. And if you take one thing from this video, set up auto pay. Ideally pay your full statement balance, but at the very least, make sure that minimum is always covered. And the next, credit utilization is the fastest change that you can make. Unlike payment history, this can change your score really quickly. Now we're talking within a billing cycle. And here's the rule. Under 30% is okay. Under 10% is great. And then under 1% is elite. And let me show you how powerful this really is. I came across someone who paid off one major card and their score jumped 121 points from the low 600s to over 720. So no new accounts, no disputes, just removing utilization from one card. That's how sensitive this is. Now, here's something a lot of people don't even think about. You don't have to pay your balances down to fix utilization. You can also increase your limits. So think about it like this. $2,000 balance on a $5,000 limit. That's 40% utilization. That same $2,000 balance on a $10,000 limit is 20% utilization. So same debt, but completely different risk level. That's why opening a new card or getting a limit increase will actually help your score. And sure, there might be a dip at first, but long term, it can make your profile look significantly stronger. Now, this next hack surprises people who are newer to the credit card game. Getting added as an authorized user. So if someone has strong credit and they add you to their card, you inherit their payment history, their credit limit, their account age, all of it. I saw someone on Reddit get added as an authorized user on their dad's card. The moment it reported, their score jumped up 31 points. Nothing else changed. So no new applications, no debt paid down, just one account getting added. And here's the interesting part. Their total credit limit increased by $25,000 just like that overnight, and their utilization dropped by around 30%. That's what moved the score. So same person and profile, just a stronger account added. But here's the catch. Not all accounts help. You want long history, so 10 plus years ideally. You also want a perfect payment record and you want low utilization. If the account is messy with late payments, high balances, a short history, it can easily hurt you instead. But let's move on. Let's talk about disputes and credit repair. This is where things can get powerful. If you have collections, charge-offs, late payments, these are the things that are dragging your score down the most. We're talking 50 to 100 points, per item. But here's what most people don't realize. Not all of these are verified properly. And if a creditor or collection agency can't verify the account, it has to be removed. That's where disputes come in. I saw someone negotiate a pay for delete on a collection, and once it got removed, their score jumped up 73 points in about a week and a half. It jumped from the mid 500s to the mid 600s, just like that. And this is one of the few moves that can completely change your profile fast. Now, we got to talk about the big time wasters because this is where most people get stuck. They focus on things, like removing a couple hard inquiries, trying random hacks they saw online, waiting for time to fix everything. None of these are useless, but they're not where the leverage is. And if you really want to move your score, focus on what actually matters. Keep your utilization low, never miss payments, remove negative items if possible, increase available credit at all times. Everything else is going to be secondary. But there's a few hacks that I didn't have time to cover in this video. So you got to watch this video next to see the 5 credit score hacks that banks hope you miss that can move your score faster than just be patient and wait. The same advice that people always follow. I even get into why paying your cards on time and in full can still secretly punish your score if you don't understand how reporting works. So definitely check out that video next. And thank you for watching.